Hello, and welcome to episode 32 of Nintendo Therapy, a show about the latest Nintendo news and rumors, as well as a celebration of all the things Nintendo. With me this week is Sean.
Hello.
I guess. You there, Sean? There you are. And Harrison.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm here too. Welcome back. Hey.
Yeah.
Everyone's here.
You might be on a little bit of a delay. I don't know. There was a little bit going there.
I don't know.
We'll fix it in post. And by we, I mean you, Kevin.
Honestly, I think the software we record through here, the site we record through rather, the reason Sean went out of sync in that episode that I had to fix, I think it makes some decisions on its own when a track is silent for too long. And I think it starts guessing where your audio waves belong because, yeah, there's definitely chunks that got like out of sync. You know what I mean? You started the episode in sync, and then by the end of it, you weren't anymore.
So the point is never be silent.
Yeah.
Always be talking. Always be talking.
You guys were having such a great conversation. I didn't want to interrupt it. So.
I can't even remember what that was. What have we been playing this week?
I'm still on Grandia 2. I heard that it's shorter than the first Grandia, but it doesn't seem short to me. I'm 20 hours in right now, which is like, okay, this can end at any point. But I think I'm about 3/4 of the way through. It's good, but I'm really surprised. I think I like the first one more. I'll have more detailed review, I think, when I finish it, but I love my Dreamcast RPGs. I'm really psyched that Skies of Arcadia is coming to Switch eventually, but this one, I liked the first one more, which was a Sega Saturn game.
Interesting.
Sean, how's Vampire Survivors going?
Good. I tried the co-op, so that was fun. So we've been doing that, and I've had it since release, but I finally booted up the Resident Evil 4 remake on my Xbox, and kind of disappointed. So I've definitely been playing more Switch than Xbox.
Oh, another thing I've been playing. Sorry, but I wanted to get this out there. I've been playing Mario Golf, and I got my first ever hole-in-one. I've been playing that game since 1999, on and off. I've never gotten a hole-in-one, so I was super excited about that. I'm trying to unlock all the golfers.
Oh, nice.
Is there a special animation for that?
Yeah, I was playing with Yoshi. I don't know if each player has a different one, but I was playing with Yoshi, and he like kind of ran around in a circle and like jumped up to celebrate. He didn't do the Yoshi though. He didn't like make the noise.
That was really good.
It's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
I'm a part-time Yoshi voiceover actor. Just the one word though, because that's all he says.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Maybe Yoshi's a Pokemon. He only says his name. Oh,
heard it here first.
Yeah. Leave us a comment. What other characters only say their name?
Pokemon.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What have you been playing, Harrison?
Well, I booted up Dragon Quest Builders yesterday for the first time since like the New Year, since like January apparently. And like, have you ever like booted up a game and like right when it loads up, right away you think, wow, like I did a lot in this game. Like I did, I did way more than I remembered. That I just like black out. So
I have a Final Fantasy X file that's like that. Every time I boot it up, I'm like, oh my god, I completed the sphere grid with like multiple characters. Like it's like crazy. I use that file for any time I want to play a new game of Final Fantasy X. I'll then skip to that file at the end, so I don't have to do all that work again.
Yeah, Sean, how about you? Like any game comes to mind?
Yeah, when I'm in the Lego game mood and I like hop back in one and I'm like, oh my god, I unlocked a ton of stuff apparently. So,
well, there's a ton to collect in any of those games. So,
I think I've only
so yeah, so I
100%ed
booted up
one
that
of them.
game. Yeah, I uh, I wanted to play it because usually like during the summertime, I'll start watching like more like Minecraft creative videos or something, and I'll just get like in this mood to basically like almost like break out the Legos or something like that,
Yeah.
and just build things. So on Dragon Quest Builders, once you have the post game, you can unlock these generated islands that have no enemies, and you can just use it to build. And you can send NPCs over there to live. And it's just something that I played for a little bit yesterday because I just wanted to kind of zone out and just kind of focus on something. And I also forgot how beautiful that game is as well. But yeah, as soon as I booted up, I was like, wow, like I built and mined and collected way more than I remembered. I also want to play the Sea of Stars demo because I want to hop on the hype
Oh,
train, but
yeah. I
but I
forgot
don't
that's
know if
out.
I'm going to. Yeah, they do have a demo which is awesome. It seems like everyone is playing it right now. There have been a lot of possible sleeper. Like I don't know if this is a game of the year category, but there have been a lot of games that have come out this year that have been surprising the kind of reception that it's gotten. So I want to play that too. Kevin, what's our first news item?
Our top story dropped today, as far as I know. I think this is a new news story. It won't be brand new by the time people hear this, but they might not know it yet. Nintendo Live 2024 will be held in Tokyo, January 20th to the 21st, 2024, obviously. Nintendo Live 2024 Tokyo is set to take place at the iconic Tokyo Big Sight. This eagerly anticipated event promises 2 days of live performances featuring beloved Nintendo properties, as well as the highly anticipated World Championship tournaments. So, Nintendo plans to open applications for the tournaments in October. As for general admission, pre-registration is scheduled to kick off in November. Detailed information about the application process will be shared closer to the event. So, hopefully, this is going to be something where we learn something about the next Nintendo system, maybe. Who knows? Looks like it's mostly like competitions, though.
It might, yeah. Hopefully before that as well. I hope there's some golden cartridges they hand out for like the winners of this world championship.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, do like a throwback to the original Nintendo Championship NES cartridges. We got
Yeah.
Splatoon 3, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Are they not doing Smash?
Smash?
Yeah, they got to have Smash.
Just
Oh, right
say
here,
that's-
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
There we
Yep.
go.
Um,
I'm guessing
and
they're
those
not
might
doing
be
arms.
the main events.
They gave up on that one, right?
I guess it's not listed here.
It wasn't, but there was a second one, wasn't there?
No.
No,
No.
Well, you can-
or that was speculation, I guess. Yeah.
Well, you can get your tickets, Sean, and I'm sure somebody there will challenge you to a game of arms, or you can challenge them and they will accept. I guarantee you'll find someone in that crowd.
I'm a little rusty.
Other news. Oh, okay. Other news story: Excite Bike 64 comes to Switch Online. Woo! The expansion pack, because it's a Nintendo 64 game, obviously. So that should already be there by the time people are hearing this podcast. I think it drops tomorrow as of the time we're recording, or it might already be on there.
I think
Either
I think
way.
it released today. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I updated.
Either
it
way,
today.
by the time people are hearing this, it's there.
Yeah, the initial comparisons I've watched look really good. Depending on how you feel about updating graphics like that, but I thought the gameplay looks very smooth on the Switch Online in comparison to the original.
That's one of those games I've owned forever and have never really played. I played the original NES one a lot, but not the 64 one. I don't know. It seems kind of like generic. We'll pull it someday in the randomizer, but
Yeah, I hope we do, because I gotta say, like, along with, we talked about like the snowboard era of the
Oh
same time,
yeah,
like
yeah.
because and they're going to add 1080 to Switch Online at some point. That's
oh,
still
of
on
course, yeah.
that's still on the list. But just I think in this 1 or 2 years, we had Excite by 64, Supercross 2000 by EA Sports, which is crazy to think about. Jeremy McGrath Supercross, Road Rash 64, and those are just the ones that, like, I think there was more. I'm sure there was more, but like it's crazy that we had so many motocross games. Like, it was just very popular at the time. I hope we pull it.
Yeah, I'd
And
be
Sean,
interested in giving it a go.
you might be interested in this as well, Sean, since you wanted to know about Gamescom last week. Gamescom opening night live was the most watched Gamescom ever this year.
Oh, wow.
It says that their overall viewership was up 66% compared to last year's opening night live event. So, video games, they're getting more popular. Indie
Yeah.
games, especially.
And
I
Kevin,
think people are getting tired of the big AAA stuff. I think indies are like, I mean, I don't think, I know you can see in the numbers. Indies are definitely on the rise. So,
I'm wondering if
Oh.
you and I are in the same spot on that, because I'm thinking that's part of it with Resident Evil. Is I'm just like, eh.
well, I mean, an indie game was a top seller for Nintendo in UK, US, and Japan again this week. So
which one
again,
was that?
Vampire Survivors.
Oh,
Woo!
okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, actually, if you look at the top sales, besides like Red Dead, a lot. I mean, it's just a lot of indie games on the top charts for Nintendo right now in multiple regions. Whether it's that game, whether it's Vampire Survivors, whether it's Stardew Valley still, whether it's Bomb Rush Cyberpunk has been in the top 5,
Oh,
which
yeah.
again I'm really excited about. It just makes me really happy when there's games that you like that other people appreciate. uh, and Kevin, you see that article? There was some more Gamescom news, which was pretty big.
I did not. What are you referring to? Let us know.
I sent you. So I sent you 2 articles on accident. I did that
Oh, I
thing.
must have missed it.
I feel really bad. Like yesterday, or today, I sent you a list of notes, and then I sent you an incorrect link, and then I sent you the correct link, and then I sent you another message saying sorry about so many messages. I feel horrible.
Oh, I didn't even
The
see
first
this
the, fir-
until
the
just
first the,
now.
the, fir- the first link is wrong, and
I didn't
sorry.
have a notification on my messages. That's weird.
Here's
Well,
a
it
message
doesn't.
for all the messages.
Yeah, I feel self-conscious about that stuff, like especially when I was in the dating pool, especially when I was
Oh yeah,
not single. But
yeah. I didn't even notice. So
going on to the news item, at Gamescom, apparently there was a Switch 2 revealing, but the article is very odd because it was reported from a journalist who was there but didn't see it, but I guess knew of other people like developers and journalists who were able to see this behind closed door meeting. So
oh, is this the Nintendo Focus or is this different?
this is not Nintendo Focus.
All right.
That's something I don't know what that is.
To me, I just want to put that in the podcast as like a timestamp for people who are hearing this like late, like a year or 2 from now, when we already know what the next Nintendo system is. So yeah, there was these leaks about the next Nintendo system being the Nintendo Focus, and they're very clearly fake. And I just think it's funny that I like looking back on that stuff. So
Yeah, I saw that, and those screenshots look ridiculous. Like one image looks completely blurry, and then like the next game looks on the menu looks clear. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
they had a Mario game that was blurry, and then Street Fighter was like crystal clear.
I saw that. But this Gamescom thing is pretty cool because I've heard of like things like this going on at these conventions, and then like you have like this like inner rumblings of like, oh, did you hear like this happened, and I just imagine what it must be like they come in with these systems, and they like you have the select group of people, and perhaps like it's in a standing room and it's really dark and everyone has to turn in their electronic devices, and like I just imagine it as like a mafia movie basically when I think about these like
They're just
secret.
gonna start hitting those rooms with like an EMP.
Yeah, you see, but I'm sure like that's not far off from like what it is, and it's just
They need
cool.
those grenades from Metal Gear Solid that make everything into like confetti. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like the radar
Yeah,
gets all confetti.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah. Or you need the thing from Men in Black where you just bloop, and you just hit their memory, and
yeah,
and you just boop, can't remember it now. This is what happened. Um, so so I thought that was cool. Like I think it's cool that they are letting people see something actually physical, and just I think gives us more reason to think that an announcement is coming soon. Like perhaps they thought about actually announcing it at Gamescom, but then did something else. And I
if
think,
that system. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was just saying, I think we're getting a September Direct. Is what I was going to say. Finally, yeah.
If that Switch 2 system does end up dropping in Christmas or fourth quarter of 2024, I just want to say Nintendo Therapy called it. I'm pretty sure that's what in our first episode, we gave out system predictions. And I think my prediction was fourth quarter 2024 or first quarter 2025. So, patting myself on the back for that. Even though we've reported other rumors, that was in our first episode.
So speaking of rumors, like Zippo's made a few blog posts this past week. Claims we're getting a September Direct. Do you think we're getting a September Direct despite getting a short Mario Wonder Direct? Well, today basically.
That's tough to say, especially before we know what's in the Mario. As of the time of this recording, we haven't seen the Mario Direct yet. So, uh, I, it's a lot easier to have a feeling on that when you see how much information they give you in that. But I could see it going either way. I don't know. I saw a rumor that they're going to be revealing a Mario themed Switch OLED during the presentation tomorrow.
A red one? That would be
Yeah.
sweet. That'd be sweet. Because the red Mario Switch, I think, is the best looking one, like aesthetically. So
You think so?
that would be cool. Uh, I think we're getting September Direct. I think this 15-minute Mario, it's going to be Mario Wonder focused, and I think there's going to be enough to talk about for the holiday season. And Zippo said that it's going to be Mario focused. So perhaps we get more information on like the Peach game, whatever that's
Oh
called,
yeah,
and
Yeah, that's true.
in
and we get
Luigi's
more
Mansion.
and more Mario RPG information, perhaps. Just just some small things. I Zippo makes these like really short, like these really short blog posts, and I really do not. I get that he's like he must know people in the industry. Like there's a reason why people talk about him, people know him, but I really don't like his writing style at all. I must say, and the things he says sound like a celebrity psychic sometimes. I think, like, because he said in the most recent blog post, he expects that a Nintendo Direct sometime in the first 2 weeks of September. I'm like, bro, like that's not a good. I could have predicted that. Like,
Yeah, it's like when people say like there's a rumor that there's a new Mario game in development. It's like there's always a
there's
new
always a
Mario
Mario
game
game
in
in
development.
development, but to say like, oh, like there will most likely be a direct sometime between the 1st and the 15th of September, and then if I'm wrong, it's like, oh well, it was still September. Like, and he also mentions that uh, GameCube remasters are likely, and I'm like, well, yeah, like that's what we've been doing.
I'm ready for them to announce. You know what? So I'm ready for them to announce the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HDs coming.
I think that's it. I think that's what we're getting.
But one thing I think is crazy that I see online all the time is people that expect them to bundle that together. And maybe there'll be like a price reduction thing if you buy them together, but like that it's not going to be a $60 bundle for the two of those guys. Like that's crazy. That's insane. Like they know they can get $40 a piece for each one.
I mean, I could see it. I mean, they're newer games than Mario 64, but we still got Mario Galaxy in a bundle.
Yeah, I just don't see them. Because they know they will get the same. Like it's not going to deter a single sale for them to sell it separately. That's a lot of S's. But um, yeah, I don't think they would see it as any different to charge $40 for the two
I
and
mean,
sell them separately.
yeah, because
But can you do $40 for the two, $40 each, or $70 for a bundle,
That's what I'm saying. They might because
or $90
isn't that
for the
basically what they
deluxe
did with
bundle?
Pikmin? Like
yeah,
Pikmin,
yeah, you can
Pikmin
get it
1 and 2
paired
you
together.
can buy separately, but they have a bundle too.
Yeah, it's cheaper to buy the bundle, so that's the way I got it. But I mean, with how strong their IPs have been selling with this system, you're right. Where it's like they could put almost any price they want on those two games, and people will buy them. So
Well, I'm also basing that price on my assumption. I should clarify this. I'm assuming it's going to be the Wii U versions of those games we
yeah,
got, which have those extra online features and stuff. If it is just like Pikmin, where they just put the GameCube game on the Switch, then obviously that'll be cheaper.
yeah, it's probably going to be the Wii U versions because I can't see why they wouldn't do that.
Yeah. And I really hope those online features come back because that message in a bottle thing was so much fun. I don't remember what Twilight Princess did for online features, but Wind Waker, I played with that constantly.
I think that's it. I think that's the rumor being speculated, and I think that's just the most obvious. And then that would mean we have that would make 16 mainline series Zelda games on Nintendo Switch if we had those.
It's basically all of them.
Almost all of them. Yes. Yeah, we had 16 mainline titles,
They're just missing the DS titles at that
and
point, which they haven't really done much DS. But I was talking to Sean about this. I think that's what the Luigi's Mansion thing is all about because it's so weird that they picked Dark Moon to be the game that they're remaking. And I think that's them testing the waters for how a 3DS or a DS game will sell and will perform on the Switch. And if it does well, they'll make, Mario 3D Land. They'll put out A Link Between Worlds. They'll put out maybe even go back to like Spirit Tracks and what was the other one? The one
Oh,
with the boat. Phantom Hourglass.
Phantom
yeah.
Hourglass. Yeah,
Yeah. So I think the reason they picked Dark Moon over people obviously want the original Luigi's Mansion way more. I think they picked Dark Moon as a way to see, make a blueprint for how DS games are going to go on to the Switch and possibly the Switch too.
Yeah, I hope so because I mean at least it seems like in the emulation world that like the DS and 3DS have always been the most challenging, and it would be great to see how they adapt. Um, just games like that, and hopefully, like I really hope a Link Between Worlds when we do get it sooner or way down the line. I really hope that it's a legit remake.
It's
Um,
even worth it just from a production standpoint, because think of it, they have no idea how long it takes or how many how big of a team they need to be like, all right, I want you to take this DS game and turn it into a Switch game. Like how long does that take, And now they'll be able to say, well, Dark Moon took us this long, so Link Between Worlds, this is the budget you should draw for it.
It makes
yeah,
sense because they have the Metroid 2 remake on DS. So to be able to bring that over, so you'd have all of those
Oh,
in
that would
one
be so good.
place. So it makes perfect sense to start doing it.
and if there is backwards compatibility with the next system, you have to think about where does that leave the Switch Online service, which actually would be great. Like if we had a new system and then day one we had every Switch Online game available on the new system would be great. Uh,
Oh yeah.
but where do you go from there? Because actually, that's kind of leading into our next segment. So I won't say, but where do we go from here with the online service? Pretty much is where I'll leave it.
Well, I had one more news item and then we can get started on that. And I saved it to last because it's kind of the least interesting one, but I still want to say it. Um, so there's a new Double Dragon collection
Mm-hmm.
coming to the Switch. It's going to have Super Double Dragon Advance, Double Dragon 2, The Revenge, Double Dragon 3, The Sacred Stones, and Double Dragon 4. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. It comes out November 9th. And I'm just like, most of these games are already on 100 other things. So it's kind of, yeah, they're all in one place now. But I feel it's like I feel like it's like me buying the Mega Man collections over and over again, where it's like the people who want these games have them.
I think it's only the second time 4 is being re-released, but 4 is also really, really bad. So
Okay. But does it have typos like Bimmy?
no, it doesn't. But I think it was a recent game just done in that style, but it's just not good. So
I didn't play a whole lot of Double Dragon growing up. I played Battletoads, and I think the stand-in my neighborhood for Double Dragon was River City Ransom, which is a very similar
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yeah.
But
Also available Switch Online, right? Yeah.
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think so. Did we talk about Double Dragon Gaiden when it came out? Like
nope.
that came out last month. Like, or so. Do you guys know anyone who played that game? 'Cause I don't.
Oh, the Double Dragon games are on Switch Online too. I just checked to make sure. So they're already there.
Yeah,
Double Dragon 1 and 2 at least.
but the new one that came out, I heard no one talking about it.
I don't know
Uh,
anyone who plays
yeah,
it, so
yeah.
as far as
Double
I
Dragon.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
You'd think it would have get caught up in that Streets of Rage like hype because they're the same type of game, but I guess not.
I think a collection of 6 beat 'em ups is a lot of beat 'em ups. Is how I feel.
Hmm.
But I was also thinking too, and this might be a future segment. Do you think beat 'em ups is one of the most agreeable game genres? Like if you were to like just sit down with anyone or like someone who doesn't play games, like
Yeah.
do you think so? I was trying to think yesterday, like most agreeable games or game genres. But
I think after side-scrolling platformers, they're like the most like cliche video game. You know what I mean? Like when you think of video game and you're of a certain age, you think of like games like those.
Yeah. It's definitely a game where anyone can sit down and at least button mash. So
That
Yeah,
too, yeah.
because those
And
games are very simplistic too. It's hey, this button jumps, this button hits things. Oh,
a lot of the times they have cheat codes, which I love because I love to play my games overpowered. So you'll have like infinite health codes or like infinite ammo if it's a shooting one, things like that. So if you're in the situation Harrison's talking about, you could turn the cheat codes on and be like, "Hey, let's play. You can't even die."
I don't know. I don't think Double Dragon does have the
They
cultural
don't, but I'm just
impact.
saying a lot of beat 'em ups do. Or they'll at the bare minimum have like an infinite continues code.
Oh, I'm just saying it's unusual to release the collection because I don't feel like that brand has the audience.
Oh,
yeah.
I see what you're
Mhm.
saying. Yeah.
It doesn't have the audience, or as Kevin, what you said, people that want to play it have it or have it on multiple systems. But I don't know, like it's a collection of 6 games. Is it getting a physical release? Because I'm
I
sure
would
people
think
It
will.
doesn't say in what
someone
I'm looking
will.
at here.
That'll
Does some
probably be
does,
one of those limited run does a deal or something.
Yeah, because people will collect that. I saw Limited Run is doing Jurassic Park, and that merchandise looks really cool. Um,
Yeah,
I don't.
yeah. I'm debating on it. I know the pre-order is soon.
Yeah, yeah. Limited. I don't know much about that company, but they do make things that are visually stimulating. Like it definitely looks nice.
And that brings us to this segment that we're doing this week as kind of just like a fun little experiment. I thought this was actually something where if it works out, we could, do it a couple of times, not every week, but like, a few months from now, if there's a slow news week or whatever, it's something we could do again. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take each service on the Nintendo Switch online and we're going to say a game that we feel like is missing from its library. I think the best way to do it is we'll each go system by system. So I can start. So we'll start with the NES since it's Nintendo's first. Um, I picked Marble Madness. I'm surprised this game
Okay.
is not on Nintendo
Hmm.
Switch Online because I feel it's like back when I was collecting retro video games, if I would ever buy like a lot with like 30 games, this cart was always in there. And it's a game I grew up with. I love it. If anyone hasn't played Marble Madness, it's a very simple game. So that's another reason I could see it showing up on Switch Online is it's basically a game where you navigate a marble through like a little obstacle course to go from the start point to the finish point. And things try to knock your marble off. So it's as easy as it sounds. And yeah, I'm surprised it's not on there. It's a very simple game. I forgot to look up. Has that ever been like re-released in a collection or
I
something?
have
It
no
must have.
idea.
I
I'm
think
gonna look at that
sometimes
real
it's
quick.
in like arcade collections.
Yeah, right here. Beginning in 1998, Arcade's Greatest Hits, the Atari Collection Volume 2. I didn't even know it was an arcade game. I knew it from the NES. Okay. And then a bunch of other collections. So yes. Oh, it's on iOS. Oh
There
no,
you
it's
go.
not. Sorry, false
Oh,
alarm. It says an iOS port was in development but never released.
Well, there you go. Yeah, bring it back. For me, for NES, I went nostalgia for this one, and I'm gonna say bases loaded. And
ooh,
I say nostalgia because NES is not lacking in sports games, but this is definitely a sports game which completely maxes out what a Nintendo system can do. Actually, and I think it's pretty impressive as well. So it was one of 3 baseball games I would play on NES: baseball, RBI, baseball, and bases loaded. And it hasn't been released again since the PS1 and Sega Saturn. So it
oh
hasn't been
wow.
released
Wow.
in 20 years since then.
That's a good pick.
Right?
I definitely love baseball. It's been like right in the middle of my rankings for a while now.
So I went with one that I played a lot at my cousin's, and I'm just surprised it's not on there yet. But I went with Paperboy. Like that game's insanely fun, even though it's just this stupid premise. Really, you're the paperboy, and everything in the neighborhood's
I
trying
love
to
Paperboy.
kill
Yeah,
I
you.
love Paperboy.
But yeah,
it took me so long to figure out that the thing was telling you what houses to deliver to.
oh yeah,
Like
because you
when I was
used
a
to just
kid, I was
throw
just
it at
delivering to
everything.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was just throwing papers at every house.
it's like, oh, I don't understand why they're getting upset.
I, I love that game, and that's genre or subgenre of game is still really popular today. Like driving, delivering, dropping stuff off, picking stuff up. Like it's still, yeah,
It seems
I would
like
say
it
that
should
was
have a
one of the
comeback.
first. I would say that was one of the first games where you would have fun with your friends, like intentionally playing the game bad. You
Oh
know, like the
yeah,
type of thing you do in Grand Theft Auto or GoldenEye, going a little further back where you'd like, shoot the scientists or whatever. Like that was like the first game where you throw the paper at like the neighbor on purpose to see. There was so much animation in the game, and so many little tiny details that you wanted to hit every single thing with a paper just to see what it did.
we always used to have the thing where you tried desperately to get it to the end because it had like the jumps and stuff.
Yep.
mm-hmm.
That little obstacle course, and it's on like a weird, what is that called when it's on an isometric? It had that isometric angle to it, which was really weird to control.
But yeah, I
I
don't
can
know.
hear the music in my head right now.
I
That
miss me some Paperboy.
was a great pick. All right, what Game Boy, I guess, would be the next system release if we're going in system order. I picked, and it's probably going to end up on there at some point, but I'm kind of surprised it hasn't dropped yet. I picked Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. It's a fantastic Wario game. The first, and I wish they'd make more Wario games like this one instead of constantly giving us WarioWare, because it's not just another Mario game. You know what I mean? He platforms differently. He's got a whole different move set, a whole different type of power ups. It's its own thing, just like the Yoshi series is, or when Luigi gets his games, like he rarely does, but he had that one new Super Mario Brothers game. But yeah, it's it's its own like type of side scrolling platformer, and I wish they made more of them. They seem to be like pigeonholing Wario into just the WarioWare games now.
I
Exactly.
say GameCube was the last Wario Land, right? Or
I
was there
think
one
so.
on? No, mate, there was one on Wii. I can't remember what it
Okay,
was
I'll take
called.
your word for it.
But yeah, it's been a while. So no, I agree that definitely is another series that should come back.
Okay.
All right, what do you got, Harrison, for some Game Boy?
Well, this is the most important one, without a doubt. Um, the, there's a conspiracy surrounding why we don't have Generation One Pokemon on the Switch Online service, and it's ridiculous. Like I I don't get it, and I want to know why, Nintendo. Is it because you have so many Pokemon games that you can charge people for that you don't want to give us this? And you're worried that people are going to spend just too much time playing these games. Why is it? Because here's the number one reason why. We have Pokemon Stadium. Like we have Pokemon Stadium, and the best part about Pokemon Stadium was being able to take your own Pokemon from Red and Blue and put them into that game, which you could easily do. You could easily do it with Pokemon Home as well, but we choose not to. So for me, I don't see why we don't have it on here. I wish we did, and I think it would make playing Pokemon Stadium just a lot more fun. And again, I don't understand why. I just don't get it.
And then we also had those rumors that showed that like somehow through the Switch Online service, you were eventually going to be able to link those games. So
Right.
Yeah, so
Maybe that's for the Switch too. I'm just going to blame everything on the Switch 2 for the next year.
yeah. I think there are just parts about the online service that are frustrating, and this is one of them. So, because I played Pokemon Stadium a bit, but like outside of playing like just the mini games, there isn't much of a purpose like besides that. So it doesn't make sense. Perhaps they're more focused on making sure people play newer Pokemon titles. Sean, what's yours?
So mine's a game called Alleyway. I remember playing on Game Boy. It's just a knockoff of Breakout,
Oh yeah.
which is
That's the type of game they put up though. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
there's like a certain
Mhm.
type that they put on these services, and that's definitely in the category of it.
But I used to play a lot of that, and it's just the paddle with the ball, and you hit the blocks at the top. So I don't know. I think it would work on the system really well.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Okay.
I like those simple arcade games. Okay, so I don't know which came out first, Genesis or Super
I don't
Nintendo.
know.
I'll go with Super Nintendo. My pick for Super Nintendo, I don't know if they'd have the licensing for this, so I have a backup. I'm going to cheat and do two games. So, in my ideal world, the only Super Nintendo game that is from like the first year of Super Nintendo that is missing for me is Sim City. Not SimCity 2000. I never figured out how to play that one. That one was like overly complicated for some reason. You had to like level the terrain to build things, and like, like there were like hills and valleys. Too much. Um, but the first SimCity on Super Nintendo that has a cameo appearance by Bowser and a name drop of Mario, that one, I I love that game. That's like my Nintendo therapy, going to the title of the show. That is a game that I will throw on to relax to. And I wish it was on Switch Online. I don't know if they don't have the licensing for it or what, because obviously Nintendo doesn't own the Sim City, what do you call it, franchise.
Say it's EA now, I think.
But the online system has gotten stuff that people didn't think it was ever going to get before. So I don't think it's out of the question to show up there.
Well,
My backup.
yeah.
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
no, I was going to say I don't think that's the purpose of the segment either. Like I
Okay.
also I had it on my list and I thought the exact same thing, but this is just for fun as well. Like if it is EA, it would never ever come to Switch, obviously. Um, but it's fun. Like I thought the exact same thing, Kevin.
Was that your pick?
No, I
Okay.
wrote it down as like a fun pick, but I thought
Oh,
it'd be cheating. I thought that would be cheating. So, what was your other one?
my backup is a game that I feel like hasn't gotten enough recognition over the years. Sean knows I always bring this game up whenever I can. It's a game called Bob,
Oh yeah.
B.O.B. And it's basically a blend of Contra or Mega Man side-scrolling shooter and Toe Jam and Earl, because it like takes the storyline of Toe Jam and Earl, where the main character has crashed his spaceship and you got to collect the parts, but the gameplay is like a Mega Man type game where you have a arm cannon, so kind of Metroid, I guess you could say too. You have like an arm cannon and you have different power-ups that you can switch between different weapons to use. But it's got that Toe Jam and Earl sense of humor to it, where like he's constantly throwing out the random 90s slang like bogus, tubular, like stuff like that. It's got a lot of charm. That game has a heck of a lot of charm. And for some reason, not a lot of people have heard of it, but it's a really great
So
game.
you're
If
two
you're into retro game, go play Bob.
you're 2 for 2. That EA also owns that. So
Oh,
Ah!
really? Really? Yeah, 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 yeah. EA and Nintendo not so good right now. I don't think.
EA, sell your Bob license. You're never going to make another Bob game.
EA
You
oh,
never even made a second one.
here's something
EA Sports, it's in
interesting.
the money.
Yeah. Except, well, no, I guess, yeah, Madden, people still buy that. So, fun fact about Bob, the game uses the same game engine as the Wayne's World video game.
That's a fun
I
fact.
knew that, but the Wayne's World video game is terrible, and I don't want people thinking this is terrible.
No, no, Bob's a great game.
Yeah.
So wait, I don't know this one. So does Bob stand for something?
I've never been it's written like an acronym, but nowhere in the video game does it tell you that it stands for something unless I missed it.
Nope.
But I have wondered that since I was a child. I've been playing this game since like the mid 90s. I have no idea.
Bob can be whatever you want it to be.
Well,
It's not in any of the descriptions I've read.
well, for me, like I'm an Outcast fan, so I know what Bob stands for that, but I don't know what it stands for in like the video game world. Um,
Yeah, it's really weird that it like isn't in because I used to have the manual for this game and I remember looking through that. It's not in there. Again, unless I missed it because I was a kid, but still. I remember always that being a mystery to me.
Nope. I've been looking it up and I can't find anything on it.
Listeners, if you know,
Tell us about Bob.
for Super Nintendo, I didn't have a good one for this, so I'm going to choose Shadowrun for this one.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Now I struggled going through. I could not find um, a good one that wasn't either on the online system or I think Shadowrun has been released on Switch for what's it called? I think it was a
Oh,
part of a re-release last year. I believe so. I think you can find it on the system. I think, but regardless, I'm picking that one. I've been on a cyberpunk genre kind of kick lately. I think the graphics in it look really cool. It would be a different genre, kind of a different mechanics, different play style than the ones that are already that aren't on the online service already. So
My memories of Shadowrun are that was a game we used to rent a lot and we would start a new file and we couldn't figure out how to do anything. So we would load the second file from whoever had rented the game last and be like, wow, they are way further in this. How did they get here? And just like start playing random save files where they left off. But that's not a game I've ever played straight through. So if it went to the service, I would certainly play
yeah,
it.
and
so I don't
go ahead.
think it's impossible, Harrison, because their previous game Nightshade is on the Switch Online. So maybe.
Yeah, it could be possible. And from the reviews I was reading yesterday, a lot of people say that the Genesis version was better. So, but still, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna cheat, perhaps. I just I'm gonna say Super Nintendo for that.
So mine's pretty unlikely, but I'm surprised it hasn't come out as its own separate collection. But I would like the Super Star Wars trilogy to get added to the online, especially since they had it on the virtual console. But I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So
I wonder if the first game has any kind of different licensing because I've noticed that Super Star Wars is available on PlayStation Network.
yep.
And it has been for a long time, but the other two aren't. So that seems very weird to me.
But at the same time, yeah, I'm surprised they haven't just done a collection
Yeah.
on all the
Yeah.
systems for them because, I mean, now's the time if you want to get the money from us who grew up on those games. But I don't know. I think there's still some of the best Star Wars games, and I've always
Oh yeah.
described those as it's like a 10-year-old telling you the original trilogy because you're like, wait, what? What? He didn't fight a giant Wampa. It's like, oh yeah, Wampa was like the whole top of the cave. And
Or like when you fight the door at Jabba's palace.
yeah, you fight the ball. Yeah. So I just love that they took all these random things. You're like, yeah, it's a boss fight now. Sure,
The roping the AT-ATs is
that's fun.
so like beyond I'm amazed that's on a Super Nintendo game.
Yeah,
It's to me, I'm like, that blows Star Fox out of the water. Like that level is way more impressive than anything in Star Fox.
That still might be the best Battle of Hoth level of any Star Wars game, in my
Well, Shadows
opinion.
of the Empire does pretty much an identical one, but they're even for me.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, Sega Genesis. So the first of these is already on there. So I say, why not just complete the series and throw Toe Jam and Earl 2 onto the service? I know not a lot of people like that game. I feel like it's like the Adventure of Link, where it gets a bad rap because they decided to change the formula and make it a side-scrolling game instead of a top-down game. But hey, I love Toe Jam and Earl. I want both of them on there. So my pick is Toe Jam and Earl 2. Oh, there's a subtitle for
Panic
that.
on
And I'm blanking.
Funkatron.
Panic on Funkatron. Yeah, I knew it was something about
Have you ever
Funkatron.
beaten that one?
I can't remember. If I did, it was like 10 years ago when I was going back and beating all those games from my childhood that I never finished.
Okay.
But that one I don't specifically remember.
Okay.
Shake the bushes. That's what you do in that game. You shake bushes.
For me, for my Genesis game, I'm gonna say NHL '94 because I would really like to
I have that.
I would really like to have NHL '94 on. Again, I guess you could put this also on Super Nintendo as well. But anyways, it should be on some Nintendo system. It's they released a port called NHL Rewind. Same game. It's available for PlayStation and Xbox. And the fact that we don't have it for Nintendo as well seems a bit silly. Has a huge following, has a growing following even. Still is a very competitive game. Has lots of nostalgia. Just in general, one of the best arcade style hockey games ever. So I would like to see that on one of the channels of the system.
I miss arcade style sports games so much.
Mhm.
Like I would play that
Yeah.
stuff then, and now it's like it's so sim based. I'm like, unless you're actually into the sport, it's really not fun.
Or like the Mutant League games where
Yeah,
people would tear each other apart.
those would be. That would have been a good pick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you do want a fun arcade style hockey game, highly recommend Super Blood Hockey for Nintendo Switch.
Okay, because I see that on sale a lot, and I always debate.
It is absolutely ridiculous, but it's so much fun, and they do have a campaign franchise mode, which is pretty fun. But I mean, people die during games. Like your characters will die during the games and not come back. So,
If you're playing right.
yeah. I mean, it is. I'm just saying, it is called Super Blood Hockey. So I'm assuming anyone who buys that title is okay with all of that. But I will say that like it is pretty silly and pretty brutal.
All right, two things I like. So yeah. So I don't know if you guys remember this one, and I'm kind of surprised it doesn't get released in like the Sega collections that they, throw out every couple of years. But I would love to see the ooze get added onto the online.
Tell me
What's that
more
one?
about this game. It sounds vaguely familiar.
So it's
Once you
kind of
describe
like
it,
a
I'm sure I'll
puzzle game,
remember.
but basically you control.
Is it like a boy and his blob?
No, you're the ooze, and you get to navigate.
Is there a secret of me?
Nope, there's no secret. It's just you get to navigate levels and collect DNA helixes so that you can become a human again. But I don't.
Oh, I'm looking at a screenshot right now. Yeah, so I've never played this game, but I've seen it on like lists of like underrated
Okay.
like games you should play type thing.
So yeah, I think that would be a fun addition.
The Ooze received mostly negative reviews, according to the Wikipedia page.
Doesn't matter.
What do they know?
Yeah.
It hasn't though. No, I'm looking over at the scores. All Game gave it a 4 out of 5. Game Pro gave it an 8.50 out of 20. Never mind.
8.5
Joypad
out of 20. Okay.
Yeah. Joypad gave it a 70% though. Player One gave it 82%, Megaforce 84%. So they're not all negative. It's mixed reviews, is what I would say from looking at this.
What do you know?
Electronic Gaming Monthly hated it. They gave it a 3 out of 10. So that's a pretty big range where one publisher gives it a 3 out of 10 and another gives it an 84%. It's wild. All right. What system are we on? Nintendo 64.
The one you like a lot.
Yeah, and you're going to think I'm crazy for my pick, but a lot of the games I love on the Nintendo 64 are already on the service, and a lot of the ones I would add I know are coming at some point anyway. So I went with something that's probably not going to come, but should. And I have a soft spot. I know the internet loves to hate on this game, but I like it. I have a soft spot for Quest 64. So that's my pick. I want Quest 64 on Switch Online.
I want it on there because I want to try it.
I think when people hate on the game, they forget that when that game was released, walking around in a 3D environment was still a novelty. So a lot of people say like, oh, all the towns are completely empty. There's almost no NPCs in the game. It's pretty much just you and the enemies. Like there's nothing in this game. At the time it was released, like this is pre-Ocarina of Time even. So I literally remember buying this game and thinking, like using it as a way to predict what Zelda was going to be like. It might have even still been being called Zelda 64 at the time. Like I remember being like, oh, so this is what walking around in a town could be like just little things like that. So I have a soft spot for it. It's, not a crazy, ambitious game, but I want it.
I think it's pretty ambitious for the time. I think is as you have said, and I don't think it looks like. Yes, it does look primitive. It does look like a game that came out for its time, but I don't think it looks that bad.
All right, yeah. See, I want some Quest 64 support.
I don't think like. I think the trees look just as good as they do in Pokemon. If you know, it's lots of people,
current
now.
Current Pokemon.
Current Pokemon,
Yeah, okay.
yes. Like
you know what? It actually does have a very. This is kind of sad, but it does have kind of a Scarlet Violet look to it.
yeah, because it's dead. I shouldn't say that. I'm exaggerating, but it kind of does.
I want it on there just because I want to play it. So I completely agree.
I've never beaten it legitimately. This was a game that back in the day I had a Game Shark, and there's like it's an RPG, so you have magic spells, and I used the Game Shark code to max out all my magic spells, and that's how I beat it. But I would take a legit playthrough.
Yeah.
N64.
All right, Harrison. Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna say the Snowboard Kids series, either one or two,
yeah,
or both, or
Good
both.
pick.
I've talked about this series before. I wish Nintendo would bring it out, do something with it. I think the characters in it are great, and it's just a really fun, low poly style game, which would be also very good for the multiplayer part of this online service as well.
Yeah, I'd like to play that one again. That's another one I think somebody rented back in the day, but no one I knew owned it.
Yeah, we picked those. I can't remember who picked them when we did our list of sports games, and for sure, that's something. And you know what it would do? I love when this happens where I think a lot of why those games are very expensive to collectors right now is the fact that they've never been re-released on anything.
Yeah.
So it would kind of help with that collector market of lowering the prices of those cartridges.
Yeah. I just think it's a game style that people would play, and I can't remember if it received criticism for its low poly style when it was first released, but I think graphically it looks quite nice now. So yeah, it's just one of the probably many Nintendo IPs that sit like in their vault, which I wish they would just bring out again.
Yeah. It's coming on Switch too when they bring all the dead IPs back. So
All right, I'm really curious what Sean's Nintendo
Yeah.
64 pick is because he's not really that into the 64.
I'm not, but this would finally take a gap out of my library. I want Rampage World Tour on there, damn it. There's no giant monsters stomping city games. And that's just what I want. Just want that one. That's my favorite one. I love the art style because it's got that weird claymation look to it. And you can do the 3-person multiplayer. And I don't know. That's probably one of my favorite.
3-person? It doesn't have 4?
No, I don't think they did 4 until Rampage 2, maybe?
That's so weird.
That's just weird because the 64 is so geared around 4-person multiplayer for everything.
It just took the arcade game and N64'd it, basically. So yeah, it's still just George, Lizzie, and Ralph.
That's true.
But that would be another fun online one, I think, too.
Yeah.
So
3-person functionality. That is so strange. That just the 4 controller inputs just hanging out. That's so weird.
So my Game Boy Advance pick. This was the hardest system for me to pick a game for, to be honest, because pretty much everything I want is already on there. You got Zelda, you've got all the Mario games. The only one I could think of that wasn't on there that I would love to see is, besides the Pokemon games, obviously, Mario versus Donkey Kong, which was the first in the Mario v Donkey Kong series. That would be a really good addition.
That's a good one.
It's like a puzzle game. It's got a little bit of platforming to it. It would really be a good spot in that library. That's all I have to say.
Game Boy Advance, I think for me, this would be my most exciting one. It is a Pokemon game, but not the one people would think I might choose. I would like to see Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire come to Switch Online. Just because I do think we need one or both of the Pokemon pinball games. I looked up, there's only one pinball game on the online service, and that's the Nintendo one.
Yeah.
And just overall, Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, it has the Generation 3 graphics, which really start to show the good Pokemon graphics, how much they can do. It's just a super fun game to pick up and play. There's the collecting aspect of the game as well. Overall, I think out of all the games that out of the 6 games that I chose, this would be number 1 what I would want to play today.
Really?
I think so, because I have such nostalgia for Pokemon Pinball, and it's just one of those games that I would always get sucked into. I don't know how many hours I put into those games for what? I don't know. I just think it would be a good addition. So, Sean, I'm very interested in this last one. Yeah.
So I don't have one. I went through the whole list, and the only thing I would have picked, they did a remake of, which was Advance Wars. Game Boy.
Dude, what about I know you liked Rayman back in the day. They had a Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah, but I've only played the recent ones. I went through the whole list twice, and I'm they got the Castlevanias on there in a collection. They got Advance Wars. They have Minish Cap. There's really nothing on that system, and I didn't play a lot of it, so I just have a blank spot there.
So Sean also picks Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Sure, we'll go with that, because
I really thought one of us was going to pick Golden Sun.
I think that's coming.
I think it's coming, right? But I thought one of us might pick that because it's such a highly rated Game Boy Advance game that is not on the system yet.
I am excited for that. I think I've said this on the podcast. That's a game I owned, and it got broke. It broke it. So I never finished it. And yeah, I never finished it, and it's kind of haunted me because for the longest time I tried getting a ROM, and every time I would download a ROM of the game, it would be in German for some reason, and I never was able to play that game. And I actually did find an English ROM recently, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait for it to show up on NSO. I got other games to play right now, but I will finish that game at some point in my life. Mark my words.
Ah.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to end
What-
this segment with a
did-
threat, a vague
Did,
threat.
did either of you do the which system would you
Oh
add?
yeah, sorry.
I did.
Yeah, okay. So the system I would add, again, I feel like I'm gonna be called crazy, but I would love for them to add Virtual Boy, because they could put the entire Virtual Boy library on there of 14 games. And as much as people love to clown on that system, some of those games are really fun. They've got a good pinball game on there, Harrison. You could play that. Honestly, I think Waterworld is like the only bad one, and they probably wouldn't put that one on anyway. I guess, what's the one with the lines? Red Alert. So Waterworld and Red Alert. But the rest of the 14, solid. There's a good Wario game on there.
There's a good boxing
We were talking about that
game.
earlier.
Mhm.
Yeah, but Wario Land, we need more Wario Land games. They got that. Like you said, there's the boxing game.
One of
There's
my
Vertical Force is a great shoot 'em up, like fantastic shoot 'em up.
one of my top 5 Mario games is on that system. No, you're not crazy.
Yeah.
I went with Virtual Boy also, and it's like I think that would be a cool. Here's the Virtual Boy color announcement, and starting today, the Virtual Boy and all 14 games is available on the online system.
Mhm.
So
Well, speaking of that, they could do filters on it too,
Yep.
because I've seen videos online of, like, just regular programmers making like an emulator for Virtual Boy that adds like different color filters, so you don't have to see that red all the time.
Bomberman, there's a really good Bomberman on there, and
Yep.
you could play the first Mario Tennis, and maybe you could do online.
My favorite Mario Tennis, by the way, I am crazy for the Virtual Boy. Not even ironically. Like I like it. And it never gave me a headache. And I just want to say, like, people complained about the Virtual Boy giving them headaches, and then they complained about the 3DS giving them headaches too, but they still love that thing. So the headaches are not the problem, and neither one of those things gave me a headache.
I thought it was the seizures. I thought it was seizures that
I didn't know about seizures. I just knew about headaches.
but a lot.
There's a lot of
But just to be
people
clear,
with headaches.
a lot of video games can give people seizures. Just to be clear, like there's like
That's true.
especially if you're playing Vampire Survivors, definitely could.
The thing that makes me believe this will never happen, though, is Nintendo seems to want to let us forget the Virtual Boy ever happened in the first place.
Yeah, but
I don't forget.
yeah, but that's a great pick, much better in mine, because again, like, you could release the entire system and just be done with it. Just it's
Yep.
all there.
I want to play
Except
some.
Waterworld. I don't think they'd put Waterworld on there.
I want to play some
Waterworld is barely a game. I
Tel-
don't know if you've ever seen it. But it's
Telero
bad.
Boxer. I want to play. Damn it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
It's
Waterworld.
like ARMS.
Waterworld, I played at a sleepover of yours once till like 2 a.m, and I'm like, this doesn't change. It's just the same thing forever.
You know what it basically is? I'm just now realizing it's basically Asteroids.
Yeah.
The arcade game Asteroids. What you do is you're on a boat in the open ocean, and the
The
what do you call 'em?
smokers.
Jet ski. Yeah, the jet ski smokers are like going all around, and you shoot at them. And it's basically Asteroids. Like, you go out one side of the screen, you come back on another. Not a good game.
No.
Asteroids is great. Waterworld is not. So yeah, where'd we leave off? I got lost.
Yeah, what do you got?
Well,
Harrison?
what's
Okay.
Harrison's system?
So I'll just add that I predict that we're done as far as the Nintendo Switch goes. I don't think we're getting any. And if I was to make a prediction, like if I were to bet money on it, I would say Nintendo DS. But just for the fun of the segment, I'll say GameCube. I'll say they should add GameCube to the online service, despite the fact that they're making millions of dollars re-releasing GameCube games. Why not? And game, besides, of course, like if you were to give me Animal Crossing, the game I would like is Time Splitters, I think. Because I think a game like Time
Ooh.
Splitters would be an awesome multiplayer game to have on the online service. So why not?
Yeah.
This is just a fun part of the experiment, right? Like it would never happen. So why not?
Yeah, and I think I told you guys off mic last week is I have a theory that I'll bet the next Nintendo system, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the features to lure you over is an extra Nintendo Switch Online service
Oh, yeah.
not available on the Switch. Like, get the Switch 2 and it has GameCube or TurboGrafx 16 or Virtual Boy or whatever it is.
Yep.
Alrighty, and that brings us to the Spotlight game.
Dun, dun, dun.
Golden Axe 2 came out December 27th, 1991 in Japan and January 26th, 1992 in America. January 27th. Oh, that's after Christmas. That's weird. I guess Christmas isn't that big a deal in Japan because they got we've had like 3 games now that came out like 2 days before Christmas or a day after Christmas. That's weird. Anyway, it's a Genesis exclusive, which I thought was interesting. The arcade's got a different sequel to Golden Axe. This is the only place to play this Golden Axe 2.
So, yeah, the arcade one is The Revenge of Death Adder.
Just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
What did everybody think of Golden
But
Axe?
you can play Golden Axe on Steam. Yeah, you can play Golden.
Well, I mean, like at the
Oh,
time,
at the time it was released. Oh,
it was
okay.
a Genesis
Yeah.
exclusive. Like back when the only way to play Golden Axe was the first game was in arcades and it was on Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
And then they were like, we're gonna make a sequel to that game and it's only gonna be on the Genesis. And then the arcade
Well,
get a different sequel.
I'll say this: out of all the games that I've reviewed with you, this one by far has the craziest cover art of any of the games that I think we've released. Like, have you seen these people on this cover art? Like,
I've seen this cover art on so many vans.
Oh, yeah.
it looks.
That's
I'm
what it
pretty
looks like.
sure. I'm pretty sure my mom read a romance novel with this exact cover. I'm pretty sure. Like there is not very much closing at all on this. On this cover art.
I like the awkward way he's holding the sword as if he's like checking out his reflection in it or something. He's holding it more like you'd hold a mirror.
He is doing like he's holding the mirror, and the grandpa character is just jacked. Like, I mean, yeah,
Grandpa Battle Axe.
yeah, some very, very interesting artwork.
And the Valkyrie looks like she's leading the dragon to eat the barbarian. So
That's very.
Well, back to what we were saying earlier about beat 'em ups. This is another beat 'em up that doesn't have cheat codes. So shooting my theory right down, I tried looking up some, and like all the cheat codes I found were basically just like ways to play the game. It was like how to do this better, and it's like that's not a cheat code.
So, I've not played 2 as much as I've played the original, but having gone through it, I enjoyed it. I could get to the 5th level with the dwarf. I could only get to the 4th level with the other 2 characters, but I was kind of disappointed how stiff controls felt. Like, there's this thing
I think the first game's better.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much of that we should hold for when we draw the first game because it's also on there, but
that was the thing I thought was weird, is it's like this doesn't feel like a step up for the series. And usually in beat 'em ups, like in the turtle games, like I have this strategy of if you go down underneath the enemy a little in front of them, you can hit them. and that strategy doesn't seem to work in this game. So I just had a lot of awkward jumping in the air and trying to hit people, because other than the dwarf, I don't feel like the magic does anything.
Yeah.
It's also got this really weird difficulty thing going on where I don't know if you had a chance to play the 2-player mode, but I've never seen this in a beat 'em up where if either player game overs, you game over. Even if
Really?
another player had all their continues left. Yeah.
That's
If
weird.
either one of the two runs out of lives, you game over.
That's really weird.
Yeah. It almost feels like an error, like a programming error. Because it's like I still had lives left. Why did I have to game over?
that doesn't make you want to keep playing it, especially like if you're over your buddies for the weekend and he's like, "Oh, I just got Golden Axe 2. Oh, awesome. We can't get past the second level
Because you're horrible at it.
Let's go do something
That's almost
else."
worse. That's almost worse than when they let you attack your friend. Like,
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So,
At least give your friend some hearts, or at least
Some
be
beat 'em ups let you do that.
able to like revive them. Yeah, easily could. I felt like this game, like for a game to come out in '91, I felt this like, even though I enjoy the graphic style, I don't think it holds up with other games that released on the system and also released in this year, because like 91, just for context, 1991 is Link to the Past, it's Sonic, it's Street Fighter 2. These are all games that look graphically better than this one. This game feels like more like last generation, even though
I feel like the first one looks better than this one.
Yep.
It's like, why did the same series go drop in video quality?
Yeah, and apparently they chose the 4 megabyte cart over the 8 megabyte cart, and there's just some sprites, some assets that are reused, recolored, and it could have maybe been better if there was just more variety in the game as well.
I mean, the one thing I do really like about the art style is it's so 80s. Because, like, all the monsters have, like, these colored tunics on. You know, the character models are clearly, like, it's Arnold and, I can't think of her, like, Grace Jones. Like, it's those type of characters. So I like that about it. But then there's other stuff, like the riding the monsters thing. Like, you get knocked off immediately. Right. So it's like, this doesn't even feel like a power trip right now. It's like, oh, you get on the monster? Why? So I can hit you easier? Yeah. Like, it.
And I think the monster riding mechanic was implemented more in the next game, but I think Golden Axe 3 wasn't released in the United States. I don't... Yeah.
Well, here's something I found funny. These are lines from 3 separate magazines that reviewed this game. So 3 different quotes here. 1, if you want more of the same, then this is for you, referring to the original game. And then next, different magazine, different writer. This game is still enjoyable for what it is, however, and fans of the original probably won't mind that it's more of the same. And then a third review here from a completely different publication of the other 2. A nice little sequel with slightly better graphics, but nothing new on the gameplay side. So
I wouldn't even say it's got better graphics, but okay.
They picked up on the fact that it's I'm gonna say it. I say it a lot for this segment, but this game is just DLC. That's all this game is.
No, the thing they changed to the when you're at the campfire in between, and they're like little mages now instead of the little gnomes. It's not as satisfying to hit them.
Yeah.
So how far did you guys get?
I didn't even notice. I'll be honest. I didn't even notice that they changed that.
I went through the first 4 levels, and there's 7 in this game.
Okay.
Or there's 6.
All right.
There's 6 or 7.
According to, I didn't make it through all of them, but this says 6. The game features, oh no, seven levels, 6 scrolling levels, and a final end game boss battle.
Kevin, have you ever heard about the Game Gear Golden Axe game called it's called Axe Battler: A Legend of Golden Axe?
No.
No, but I love that title.
So, not to be surprised, but this.
That's a system that could come to Switch while we're listing stuff.
But not to be surprised, Golden Axe series. Well, this game, I'll say it again, Axe Battler: A Legend of Golden Axe is Zelda inspired, but more.
That's an amazing title.
But more specifically, it's Zelda 2 inspired, to where like it has like.
You mean Zelda 2: Legend of Zelda Sword?
Right. It has where it has like RPG elements, but then when you go into battle, you battle in a beat 'em up setting. So it's a pretty interesting entry into this series. I guess this would be more of a spin-off of the series, but it has like a few different elements. It has like a map element, then it has like the overworld top-down element, and then it has like the beat 'em up battle fighting part to it as well. But they also released a game called Golden Axe Warrior for the Master System, which was inspired by the original NES Zelda game. So just so many Zelda inspired games.
I love the way Sega titled their systems. And I'm going to say I disagree with the internet, where I've seen a lot of people lately saying that the Mega Drive was a better name for the Genesis. No. Probably just my American upbringing, but I think Sega Genesis is a way cooler name than Mega Drive.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Genesis was my dad's favorite band, so I grew up listening to Genesis and Phil Collins and
look, Phil Collins
Star Trek
made a game console.
So, as far as ranking this game, I didn't hate it. As much as we bashed it, I'm actually going to move it from where I have it here, though. I changed my mind.
Be gone, Golden Axe 2.
I am going to rank it in between F-Zero X and Sin and Punishment, and that puts it at 17 on my list.
Okay. So, I enjoyed it, just not as much as I thought I was going to. And like I said, when we get, if the original comes up, I have a lot more nice things to say about that one. But
yeah, that's why I just moved it, is I think where I had it is where I'd put the original.
So I put it at number 20. It wasn't, bad, but like I said, I didn't spend, I literally just tried to play through it with each character and was like, oh, okay. I'm the best at it with this character, and it's like, I don't care enough to try this again, so.
Well, everyone wants to use the dwarf because it's Golden Axe, and he's the one who has the axe.
Well, he's the best character, I think.
Yeah.
Because
he's got the axe.
Well, he's a little quicker, and his magic seems to be the only magic that does hurt enemies.
That too.
For my ranking, I also had it at 20, which 20 it pushes down some smaller games. So like games below that could be just games that are smaller, shorter, like Donkey Kong Jr., Yoshi, NES Baseball, thing, like just like ones like that. But I'm also putting Golden Axe below games like sort of Vermilion or Demon's Crest or other games I would possibly go back to more. Golden Axe is just I think it's a fine game in a genre that is easy to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it would come back as a series, but it probably won't.
Well, did they make a 4? I know they made that third one.
The Beast Rider or whatever it is we talked about a couple episodes ago, and has not been seen since then.
Okay. Well, if you love Golden Axe and you want it to come back, this podcast can do nothing for you. But what you should do is you should leave us a review. We haven't said that in a long time, and it helps people find the podcast. That's what it does. When people are searching Nintendo podcast, we're more likely to come up in the search results if we have a lot of reviews. So leave us a review if you're on Apple Podcast. If you're on Spotify, leave us a comment
Yeah.
that says something about something. I don't know. Um, it's very specific, I know. And as always, remember, we're Nintendo fans, not Nintendo experts. So if you'd like to send us a correction or an email outside of that comment section, we have an email address, nintendotherapypod@gmail.com. We're on Twitter or X, Nintendo Therapy. I started an Instagram for us, but it's got like nothing on it right now. We're Nintendo Therapy Pod on Instagram. And what else? What else do people say at the end of podcasts?
Leave us a comment.
If you'd like to, we got to do the spot. We got to do the spotlight game. Almost forgot that.
Yeah, we might need that.
Yeah, let's find out what we're playing. Let's find out what we're playing next week. I'm not making this up, Sean. It picked what you said earlier for Shadowrun's other game. It picked NES Nightshade.
Oh, nice.
Segue.
There you go.
So we're playing Nightshade.
To try that out.
The first attempt at Shadowgate.
Okay.
So if you like if you have any thoughts on Nightshade or Shadowgate, let us know. We would love to, read. You could send us a voicemail too. I could play that on here and we could edit it into the show. Send us a voice note at our email address. Get creative. Just get in touch with us with your thoughts about these games. And as long as it's clean, we'll most likely put it in. So let us know what you think of Nightshade or our lists or anything else we've done here today. Wow, this is one of our longer episodes.
We did it.
So thank everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.